Hello, welcome to Awesome Bros, and this week, yes, we're drinking the first ever glitter beer brewed in Quebec, but also here on the show.
For an open window on a crafty world, Max and Chris from Ups and Brews. Ups and Brews. Welcome to Ups and Brews.
Alright, so what's very special about this week's beer, or maybe this week's subject, is glitter. We already talked about this a little bit, maybe like 2 years or a year and a half ago, so it might not be as accurate as today with our own specs or our own knowledge about glitter, but here right now it's the first ever glitter beer that we have here in Quebec. Thanks to Echo Session Ales, Broadway, and BOS podcast. They all collab together in one single beer called the Love Dust. If you haven't seen it in the intro, it's a red colored New England Kvike IPA brewed with some lactose, nice fruity hops, and a perfect touch of mica red pellets, sprinkles, whatever you call them. They're food safe. So no worries if you have drink it or you're scared to drink it. It's FDA approved, food safe. Canada approves it, so you won't get any disease from it. Maybe just some glitter in your poo. Yes, that's one worry that a lot of people had when they first released the beer. But so far, everything has been fine. So before I dive into the review of this beer, Max, can you tell me what's the challenge of brewing with glitter? We already saw it in the video we did on glitter beers. My beer turned out a sweet mess. It was just not fun to drink. We lost most of the head retention in it, and it was quite not appealing. But this one has red retention, so Max, get into the more specific talk about that.
Thanks, Chris. First off, I'd like to say that if you've watched the show for a while, you know that us and BOS and Craig are quite close. We've been doing these vlogs, doing this beer thing for a while, and created a good connection. I think every time that someone from our entourage or someone who's in the beer vlogging sphere has a chance to do something like this, it's pretty awesome. It's rare that it happens, but it's really cool when it does, and especially when the personality of the person doing the collaboration can really shine through the beer, and shine in this case is quite literal. If you've met Craig, you know that his personality is really out there, which is awesome. I think it's what you need when you're doing this kind of thing. It's kind of weird to be standing in front of a camera alone and talking, or even with people around. It's not something that most people feel comfortable doing, but other people like Craig, it seems to come naturally. Just his personality, it radiates when you're with him. And in this case, with this beer, glitter beer, represents him very, very well. The few challenges you have when brewing a glitter beer is doing it, period. And I'm saying that with all the love that I can, but it's one of those styles that when we did the last video, I was pretty sure would be the last time we'd see it. I was 100% kind of like, this is not going to be a thing we might see once in a while. I actually thought the Brut IPA would stay longer than the glitter beer, and for some reason the glitter beer is still here. There's still people brewing it, there's still people trying it out, there's still people messing around with this. The way you brew it is quite simple. Is you brew a beer as you would normally, and in my experience, I think the clearer you can get that wort, not just the wort, but just the beer in general, the clearer you can get it, the better it's gonna look. Although with cloudy beers, it's done some weird things where it almost looks like a galaxy in some ways, where it's a little more opaque, but then you see the glitter shine through. So it can work either way. I just like the way the carbonation kind of hits the glitter and moves it around, which with a clear beer kind of works better. Anyways, I'll talk about techniques right now. Edible glitter is your best friend for this one, and then you can add it at a few different parts. Now, the thing with glitter, whether it's in a beer or outside of a beer or anywhere really, as soon as you have it somewhere, it's going to be everywhere. It just sticks. It's just around. If you have a card with glitter on it, you can be sure that for the rest of a few weeks afterwards, you're going to have glitter everywhere, literally everywhere. And with this, same concept kind of applies, where if you add it at a point where you can't clean the equipment properly, that might be problematic. You might start having glitter later on with other runs. If you're canning the beer, it's very important to have a heavy CIP on that canning line right after to make sure that none of it kind of sticks around. Okay, so that said, where do you add that edible glitter? You can add it in the bright tank, so you can bulk add a bunch of glitter in the whole of the beer. But again, that's one of those critical points where if for some reason that glitter has a yeast on it or a bacterial strain and it starts to kind of infect the beer at the bright tank, you're kind of shit out of luck. Your beer is going to be ruined from there. Another technique that might be a little better would be to add it directly to your keg. In that way, you're limited the amount of kind of critical points that you could hit, and you can kind of do it custom. You're gonna have X amount of people wanting this beer, X amount of your licensees, and you just boom, 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 all those kegs done. Inoculate them with that glitter, add your beer on top, and you're good. And after that, you can clearly see these kegs are the kegs that are potentially problematic that we're gonna have to CIP even more, have to clean out. We're gonna probably have to open and change a few parts afterwards. But again, to get it into cans, you kind of have to do it in the bright tank. You kind of have to do it earlier. There's a couple different ways to add glitter to your beer. I just don't know. I think it's cool. I think it's an interesting concept, but a little bit like lactose. Is it necessary in every case? Probably not. It's kind of a one type thing that you'll do, have some fun, and then probably never do again. Maybe, I don't know. Anyways, very conflicted right now. Chris, back to you.
So Love Dust, it poured with a nice ruby colored, very bright red tint on it, and because of the red mica pellets, sprinkles, whatever you want to call them, glitter used in the beer. Obviously, it's brewed with nice fruity hops in the proper way of a nice New England IPA. The Kvike really round things up. It's a yeast that acts very differently and not very known as we're speaking right now. Yes, it's been used for ages in Norway and in the Nordic regions, but having it right here, the new fruity strains do act very nicely on those beers. It creates in this beer, with the fruity hops that we have in there, a nice roundness, but also blends very well and adds some fruitiness to it, which makes it a nice, easy drinking, sessionable New England IPA or whatever glitter beer you want to call it. I might sound very biased because I know very well Craig from BOS Podcast, the guys from Echo Session now, so reviewing the beer doesn't seem very fair doing it by myself. So I decided to call on some help today to review the beer, which it's been quite a while. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, this week we have Banana Girl to review the Love Dust. What a bet. Couldn't ask for better because it's actually Valentine's Day coming up this Friday, so perfect timing, right? Marie-Ève, your turn.
Cheers.
What do you find very special about this beer?
The sprinkle. You seen the beer? Ça brille là dans la bière.
What surprises you the most about the can design?
Oh yeah. Elle est à l'envers, la canne. Parce qu'il faut brosser, verser à l'envers pour que les sprinkles apparaissent. Voilà.
What are the aromas or flavors you find in this beer?
La noix de coco. Parce que je l'ai lu sur l'étiquette. C'est écrit, la noix de coco. Sinon, j'aurais dit la fraise. Parce qu'elle est rose, mais il n'y a pas de fraise dedans, ça a l'air. Mais ce n'est pas une bière à la fraise.
Do you know what's Kvike yeast?
Qui?
Kvike yeast.
Je sais pas c'est quoi. On dirait un mot d'islandais. Craig fait des podcasts. BOS podcast. Go listen to BOS. BOS podcast. Voilà.
C'est tout.
C'est bon?
Oui, c'est bon. Merci. Oof, what a nice review. Isn't she lovely? Sorry if you're not speaking French, I guess you can pick it up with the subtitles. She did her best, very proud of her once again. So of course, if you're in Quebec, grab a can of Love Dust for your loved one. I think it's a great, nice little gift. It's a cool experience drinking it, pouring it. It has a nice little touch to it. It's unique. It creates... Again, we talked about it a lot on the show. It creates a unique tasting experience for the customer, which I think it's great. Brings more people around the table, around the craft beer table, brings more passionate people, get people into a new passion at the same time. So obviously, everyone pushing at the envelope a little bit further down the road into the brewing industry really deserves a tip of the hat or a nice cheers. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel. It always very helps us. I think it's not the proper way to say it, but it helps us grow as a whole community. Check out the link in the description. We have t-shirts. They're fantastic, comfy, a lot, always dirty because I wear them too much, so that's why I'm not wearing mine today, but hey, can't blame it. So thanks. Have an awesome week.
Welcome to the Ups and Bros.
C'est à moi, mais je vais me changer.